The views and opinions expressed are those of the Wrestling Fans Insight and are not associated in any way with Libsyn.com or any of the major podcasting platforms. This podcast may contain some explicit language and adult material content not suitable for children. Listening discretion is highly advised. Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of the Wrestling Fans Insight. I'm your host John Hoppy, and finally making his return, my brother William.
Yep, I'm back. Sorry guys.
Feeling better?
A little bit, still kind of sickly, but it'll get better.
And you know, I've actually had a couple of friends who listen to the show ask me how you've been doing. I've been telling them, well, he's been fine, and then all of a sudden, here you are again, not feeling great.
Yeah, I mean, we're still trying to get my meds adjusted and whatnot, so we'll get there.
Yeah, in due time, it will. But unfortunately, he gets to leave me again next week. He's going to be on a week-long camping trip, which good for him. Him and my father getting out and about, which is a good thing to see, you know, go enjoy life and have fun. Maybe next year, when I have a little more time off build up, I'll be able to join them. But in the meantime, yeah, definitely an interesting week of wrestling with, now I guess you can say we're officially in the Triple H Steph era of WWE. I would say it was definitely a much different program than what we've been used to over the last few years.
It was, and we got to see different results throughout the week than what the typical results were before.
Yeah, and I only have one gripe, was a name change that apparently I didn't catch on to on the SummerSlam Premium Live event. It was just a little bit of still of a shocker to me, because I just was not expecting all the surprises that came up about that whole event. And I'll say I did pop hard when quite a few came back, especially on SmackDown, and we'll get to that later in the program. That one was one of the biggest shockers, because I saw a certain talent make a tweet on, and I'm just like, oh, wait a minute. He just popped up out of nowhere, and he's back. So we'll talk a little bit more on it when we get to the SmackDown part. But yeah, overall, I thought WWE was a much improved program, all three shows.
Yeah. My biggest impress point, the biggest shocker for me, was actually how well SmackDown was, despite there only being like 5 matches. It was still much better content.
Right. I mean, as far as match pace, they all pretty much stayed the same, even while Vince was still in charge. But it looked like the matches were not as rushed as they were beforehand.
Yeah.
Like, they actually took the time to tell the story. It was, you could definitely tell there was a much different atmosphere in this week's program compared to years past. And we're going to just take a small little break. You're going to listen to some music here, and as soon as the music comes off, we'll get right into the start of it with WWE's Monday Night Raw. All right, let's get right into it. Monday Night Raw, I'm just going to go over the results real quick. There was a 3-part contest for, I guess, the United States Championship contendership. So the first one was actually, the first triple threat was AJ Styles defeating Mustafa Ali and The Miz. In match number 2, Seth freaking Rollins gets a very tight, close competitive edge over Montez Ford. Alexa Bliss and Asuka go to a no contest thanks for the attack by Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky. Yes, Io Sky. I made the mistake last week calling her Io Shirai. God, I can't even say her old name. Dolph Ziggler. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of my notes. Ciampa in the second match, triple threat match for the United States Championship contendership. Ciampa gets the victory over Dolph Ziggler and Chad Gable. Match number 5, another no contest. Between Io Sky and Bianca Belair. Thanks again for the involvement of Bayley, Dakota Kai, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka. That looks like it's probably just going to end up being a 6-woman tag eventually down the road. I think that will be an interesting one for sure. In match number 6, to determine the number 1 contender for the WWE United States Championship, Ciampa gets the victory over AJ Styles, very well deserved. And the main event match for the night, the WWE Undisputed Tag Team Championships were on the line as the Usos managed to retain against the Mysterios. Like I said, much improved Raw. 7 matches. None of them were really rushed. They all told a story. I would say probably the match of the night definitely goes to, in my opinion, the match of the night goes to Ciampa and AJ Styles in that final match for the United States Championship contendership.
Yep, I would agree with that. I pretty much thought the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think there really was any bad matches other than still not quite a fan of DQ finishes, but they were telling the story. I think we're going to see quite the build with the new faction of Bayley, Dakota Kai, Io Sky. Pretty much going to be more than likely going to be the more dominant female faction for a while, the way it's looking. And to kind of backtrack, I love the way the show started off with Bianca and Becky paying respect to each other after the really hard-fought battle they had at SummerSlam. The unfortunate part was Becky, as we found out, suffered a separated shoulder during the event, which that's never a great thing, especially when things are now getting heated up with Bayley, Dakota Kai, Io Sky coming into the picture. I thought both triple threat matches for the United States contendership match were killer between all 6 men.
Yeah, they were definitely good. Solid matches, both of them. A little bit surprised with one of the endings because we've kind of seen Ciampa get pooped on.
Right. Well, and Ciampa has always been a Triple H guy. You know, well, I guess, did I even say this right? I guess you can say, you know, how everyone was a Paul Heyman guy. Ciampa was definitely a Triple H guy.
Yeah.
And we saw that. And really, a veteran like Ciampa, how do you go wrong not getting this guy a little more into the big picture, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at. There's no reason why this guy hasn't had some better storylines and been pretty much the center of the storyline that he's always involved in. I was loving watching Alexa Bliss and Asuka go at it. Basically, it was kind of to show off Alexa being a little more serious, wanting to be the top contender for the women's championship again. Unfortunately, you know, having a great match with Asuka, it was ruined with the whole Bayley, Kai, Io Sky involvement. It was a little weirded out with the Seth freaking Rollins and Montez Ford match because to me it kind of seemed like it was a little more of a filler match at the last second, the way it felt.
Yeah, but it did turn out to be a pretty good match. Always a fan of watching Ford and Rollins. I'm not really sure where they were going with it.
The only thing I got out of it, you know, with Riddle and Profits being friends, which, yeah, that's a little understandable, but it was kind of a stretch to the whole lead up for the match in a way.
Yeah, and we've seen it over and over and over where they seem to be going multiple different directions with the Profits.
Right. We're still uncertain. Are the Profits going to break up and go the singles what direction? Or are we... to me, it almost seemed like there was a little bit of dissension, especially when they were trying to do the rock, paper, scissors of who was going to face Rollins. I'm not sure if I was just sensing tension or just... I don't know. It was a little different. Threw me off a little bit. But watching the other triple threat match with Ziggler, Ciampa, and Chad Gable, I thought Chad Gable did a damn good job.
Yeah.
You know, being the little guy in the way, but definitely displaying that he can go the rounds with even the really top talent.
No, he's always done an awesome job. This match was fun to watch. What I really was expecting was they've been kind of pushing Dolph lately.
Right.
So I thought that was going to be, the winner.
Yeah.
And no.
Yeah, I'm a little puzzled as what's going on with Robert Roode, but I need to do a little more reading up on that. I kind of haven't really had time to keep up with the dirt, as JR would say. But yeah, it's a little confusing. Dolph Ziggler just came out of nowhere and is pretty much almost right up there with everyone again as far as the storylines.
Yeah.
Io Sky, Bianca Belair, awesome match up until, the DQ finish. Io Sky, very long awaited to be on the main roster, in my opinion. She did really well with NXT, don't get me wrong. Being former NXT Women's Champion, former NXT Women's Tag Champion with the now number one contender, Zoe Starks. And then, we already covered Ciampa and AJ Styles. Like I said, I thought that was match of the night. But the Usos and the Mysterios, I would say, close second as far as match of the night.
Yeah,
Well, not even close. It was definitely the second best match of the night.
It was really, really good match. I'm always going to say go Dom because we're just seeing him improve and improve and improve.
Yeah, I mean, he still has his sloppy moments in the ring, and I still think he needs a little more time with development. But from what I've seen, and like you said, he does show signs of improvement. We just need him to be better. But the Usos retaining the championships, I'm liking that direction. As long as Roman holds on to the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship, I said that backwards, I don't care. I think it makes sense to keep having the Usos retain the WWE Undisputed Tag Team Championships as well. However, in the rumors, it's showing that the channel stations are having a little bit of issues now because, hey, we want a world champion or a top champion on this program, on this channel. And I saw this coming from a mile. I've said it before. I think it was just a matter of time before one or the other said, hey, this is not what we agreed to when we signed the contracts. What the hell's going on? But I think at some point we are going to see all the titles separate from each other. No more unification. It's just a matter of now how they're going to clean up the mess.
Right. And the only other way that they could possibly handle that would obviously be the champ, pulling double duty. And they don't need to be doing that. They work hard enough.
Right. As far as getting back to it, sorry, I kind of sidetracked off the match. We see Edge come down because Judgment Day starts attacking the Mysterios after the match, and Edge comes out and makes the save to try to get them off the Mysterios. Unfortunately, thanks to Rhea Ripley, she pushes Dom in the way where Edge was attempting to spear Finn Balor and accidentally gets Dominic Mysterio instead. And then he goes chasing off after Finn Balor and Damian Priest. Kind of a oopsie there for Edge. Unfortunately, Mysterio's, I'm sure, didn't really see that it really wasn't Edge going after Dom. Hopefully they'll show there'll be some forgiveness next Monday Night Raw. Which,
I was a big fan of Rey Mysterio's reaction. They turned back to the ring and he's just got his hands up.
like, what the hell, man? Taking my kid out? What's up with that shit? But no, I loved Raw. It was definitely a much improved Raw compared to the previous weeks and years. I'm not saying that it's gonna be all, rainbow unicorns and everything here right off the bat. It's gonna take some time to fix some of the messes from Vince's era, but give it time. I think it'll be a much improved program as we progress. Anywho, we'll be back. We're going to take a short break and we'll come back to NXT 2.0. Alright, let's get right into the NXT 2.0. I loved the way they opened it off with the Fatal 4-Way Elimination match for the NXT Women's Tag Team Championship. And we'll go over it. The teams that were involved was Toxic Attraction, Ivy Nile, Tatum Paxley, Katana Chance, Caden Carter, and Yulisa Leon and Valentina Feroz. Really awesome match overall. I thought all 8 ladies did a remarkable job. My only gripe is I felt like it was a very rushed match. Other than that, awesome thumbs up, ladies. You did really well on this. And we'll just go over it real quick. Feroz and Leon were eliminated first by Ivy Nile and Tatum Paxley. Then, unfortunately, Paxley and Nile were then eliminated by Toxic Attraction's JC Jane. And then the final part with Toxic Attraction being eliminated by the new NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, Katana Chance and Caden Carter. Really great job by all 8 women, as I said before. Very well earned championship victory for Caden Carter and Katana Chance. They've been at the grind for over 3 years as a tag team. They've had their, ups and downs, as they said in their interview after the match. But to watch these 2 ladies, how they've improved since the first time they've tagged together. I mean, to me, they should have had the gold before Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez.
Yeah, and I think it was like 3 weeks ago we pretty much just called it like it was going to be. You and I talked about it.
Yeah, I think it was in due time. Caden Carter and Katana Chance were going to have the gold around their waist.
One person I was super, super impressed with on this one was Tatum Paxley.
Yeah, she has majorly improved her in-ring work.
She's going to go beast mode, I think.
Well, the way she's going, I think if her and Niall keep together as a team, or as even if they get Tatum Paxley and Diamond Mine, assuming Diamond Mine's still a faction down the road here, I think we're going to see great things out of these 2 women. Match number 2 of the evening, Carmelo Hayes does an open challenge, which was a little unusual for his character, for the NXT North American Championship. And the best part was watching Giovanni Vinci come out. Well, let me go back, because I'm going to screw this up, like I usually do. Carmelo issues an open challenge for the next competitor that gets in the ring. There's the technicality I just said, gets in the ring. So next thing you know, Giovanni Vinci's music plays, out comes Giovanni Vinci. But Nathan Frazier runs right past Giovanni Vinci and hits the ring first. So by technicality, it's now Carmelo Hayes defending the North American Championship against Nathan Frazier. And you know something's going to be up when Giovanni Vinci continues to walk toward ringside and has a seat with Wade Barrett and Vic Joseph. By the way, thanks Vic Joseph for acknowledging my tweet on the Choco Tacos, but yeah, I think Wade Barrett was kept in the closet too long by Nexus, not knowing what a damn Choco Taco was, especially here in the United States.
Wait, what?
What, you didn't hear about that?
No.
You really did not hear about that?
No, I know about the Choco Taco thing.
Oh, yeah, Wade Barrett. Yeah, Wade Barrett didn't know what a damn Choco Taco was.
I was kind of cheering about the Choco Taco thing.
Hey.
That's what?
Dude, that's my easy commission you're talking about there.
Yeah, but you remember who had to deliver to BYU.
Oh, Jesus. Get over that. Anyways, now that we went totally sidetracked off this show. Yeah, Nathan Frazier hits the ring and is the now challenger. But yeah, we see Giovanni Vinci join the booth with Wade Barrett and Vic Joseph. And you had that gut feeling eventually Giovanni Vinci was going to get involved somewhere, of course. It would happen to be where Carmelo Hayes knocks Frazier into the table, which knocks Vinci's drink all over Vinci. And, of course, with the referee being distracted, Giovanni Vinci gets his cheap shot into Nathan Frazier and costs Nathan Frazier the match, and Carmelo Hayes ends up retaining the NXT North American Championship. And I thought both men did pretty good being fast-paced talent, you know. Carmelo Hayes, he's just... I don't care who he works with. He always makes his opponent look really great.
Yeah. And honestly, this was an awesome match for me, and I would have written it down as awesome. But, of course, the interference just knocked it back down to okay for me.
Yeah, For me, I don't think Carmelo Hayes needs anyone to interfere for his matches, as great as they are and as awesome of a talent as he is. I would just like for once to just see him win a match on his own without really needing any help.
Yep.
That's how good I think Carmelo Hayes is. And if he goes main roster, which I think he will soon,
yeah,
he's going to be a big star.
And maybe that'll open up a little bit of a chance for Trick Williams to shine.
Yeah, I mean, Trick Williams is also an awesome talent. I don't like the way they write him in, kind of, you know, being Carmelo Hayes' lackey, even though that's what he is. But the guy is super talented as well. I mean, there's no reason to have him look like the weaker of the two.
Yeah.
And the next match, I have nothing really.
There was nothing impressive about it. It was just a decent match.
I don't even call it a decent match, but Mandy Rose gets the victory over Sarray. Basically, the only storyline to that was something that Sarray did to Mandy Rose a year ago, which apparently I wasn't really watching much at the time, due to my busy schedule. But yeah, nonetheless, I didn't really think it furthered anyone. Going into the next match, I felt the same exact way. Axiom gets a victory over Duke Hudson, which the only thing that led to that was Axiom was being interviewed. Duke Hudson comes in, mocks pretty much the Axiom for not having what is it they say, has the mold of being a professional wrestler.
Yeah.
But, you know, the underdog gets the win here, which everyone loves that, but it's hard to get into it when you got the fans chanting for Duke.
Yeah.
Well, the overwhelming fan population cheering for Duke. So, I mean...
This match made me just kind of laugh out loud.
Yeah. I'm not taking anything away from Axiom being the new guy, but...
No, but in no way, shape, or form.
When you got the overbearing population of the fans rooting for Duke Hudson, you know you need to make a change somewhere, because I think it's pretty much across the board that fans see it. They see more in Duke Hudson than what they're doing with the guy, and
yep.
that's something that really needs to change right now. Going into match number 5 for the NXT Tag Team Championship, the Creed brothers get the victory over Tony D'Angelo and Stax, and thank the Lord, Santos Escobar makes his return, where at one point it was Elektra Lopez giving Tony D the crowbar, but Tony D kept having a hard time grabbing the crowbar, and great job on the cameraman for the angle shots, not showing that Santos was holding on to that crowbar the entire time, and pulls Tony D in to give him a nice shot with the brass knucks, knocks his ass out. Julius gets the victory doing their, I can't remember what they call it, that clothesline they do to him.
I've never known the name of that.
Nonetheless, it was just perfect. You had Santos preventing Tony D using the crowbar, the rest of Legado del Fantasma stopping Stax from trying to get in and break up the pin. It was just a great way to end that whole match.
Yeah, this was a well done, awesome match. Welcome back, Escobar. Just really, they played it right.
Yeah. And next, well, I don't know if it's next week or if it's going to happen on Heat Wave. It's going to be Escobar and D'Angelo one last time. I guess it's going to be a final match between the two.
I would just leave it for the big event.
Yeah. I would imagine it's going to be for Heat Wave in 2 weeks, which would make sense. Match number 6, didn't really have much for it. Joe Gacy getting the victory over Brooks Jensen. Not really sure where that was leading, to be honest. Other than, at the end, Joe Gacy was pretty much trying to get Cameron Grimes' attention to join Schism there. But did I pronounce that? No, it's Schism. God.
Why couldn't they just stick with the dyad?
Well, no, they still have the duo known as dyad.
Yeah.
But when the three together, they're known as Schism.
Yeah,
I don't like the name.
They're getting into way too much terminology.
Yeah, I just think if you just say Gacy's Foundation or some weird shit. But yeah, it's getting a little weird. But we see a little bit of interference from Pretty Deadly too, which was I don't know. It just seemed like this whole match was a clusterfuck of a mess. You have the dyad going after Fallon Henley, and then Josh Briggs comes in and defends Fallon, and then Pretty Deadly sneaks in, attacks Jensen, and that's what costed Jensen the match against Joe Gacy. To me, Joe Gacy's a good enough talent. He didn't really need Pretty Deadly to really interfere.
No.
Just, yeah, that one was just all over the place. Going into this match number 7, though, we see Alba Fire get her revenge on Lash Legend, thank God. Although I will say, Lash Legend is getting better and better every time she's on TV and in the ring.
The difference I saw this week with her is you saw a level of comfort, finally.
Yeah, I think Lash Legend is getting a little more ring aware and knowing when to call the shots. I think putting her with Alba Fire was the best thing that they've done so far. I mean, that little bit she did with Natty when they tag teamed against Cora Jade and Nikita Lyons, we saw Lash Legend do good there, but I think that was just because, she had Natty guiding her a little bit, but then fell off the wagon again until she started in a program with Alba Fire. Lash Legend again, looking much better than she has beforehand. Then in what I thought was a really awesome match, Falls Count Anywhere match, Solo Sikoa gets his much needed win over Von Wagner, and I'll tell you, that was one hell of a as JR would say, slobber knocker there.
Yeah. That I have absolutely no complaints about this match. It was good execution. It kept you watching, kept you interested.
Yeah, well, it was a match that didn't bury talent either direction.
Yeah.
I mean, they both showed that they were forces not to be reckoned with, but at the same time, how well they are as far as going hardcore. Nice little segment with your bottle there.
Shush! Shush!
Well, just some extra added sound effects for our listeners, I guess. Anyhow, no, I really thought the match was well choreographed. Both guys looked like badasses. Solo Sikoa showing that street warrior he is, Von Wagner the brute that he is. I don't think you could have had a better ending to NXT 2.0 for the night.
No, probably not.
Anyways, we'll be right back. We're going to take a short break, and then we'll get right into SmackDown. What a great start to Friday Night SmackDown with Pat McAfee.
And the symphony of absolute nutshot.
Oh, man. I tell you, it was just, you could tell this guy is having so much fun with his role. Not just being a commentator, but being a part-time talent and everything.
He had me rolling.
I think he had everybody rolling. I mean, to me, I give kudos to Corbin and trying to hold it in, because I can tell at some point I'm sure he wants to laugh, but he is so damn good at being a heel that I think he could give MJF a run for who can be the biggest prick in professional wrestling. And I'll tell you, it would be a close number one between the two. With all that said, we had the backstage segment where Happy Corbin was in the back listening to everything Pat McAfee was talking about with the previous couple of nights in last week's event. And it led to seeing the rest of the locker room laughing at Corbin and Ricochet telling Corbin that's karma. And Happy Corbin pretty much just gets it to the basic point of telling Ricochet to meet him out in the ring, and Ricochet obliges. And in the very opening contest, we see Ricochet get the victory over Happy Corbin. And some of that you can say was partly due to the fact that Happy Corbin was still
staring,
just too obsessed with Pat McAfee, and it costed him.
Constantly staring at Pat. It's not going to win you a match.
No, it's not. Corbin doing a great job selling everything, trying to show that there's still business to have with Pat McAfee. I think we're going to see a couple more matches between these two, which would be awesome.
I kind of want to see a last man standing between them.
Yeah, that would be different. Well, definitely interesting. I can't talk, man. I'm only in my second beer, for Christ's sakes. Anyways, yeah, overall good match. Ricochet gets the victory over Happy Corbin. Then we transition into match number 2, where Shinsuke Nakamura was in a Intercontinental Contenders match for... I really cannot talk. I'm not drunk, I promise. Shinsuke Nakamura gets into the Intercontinental Championship Contenders match by defeating Ludwig Kaiser. And it was weird. I thought we were going to see Gunther do some punishment to Ludwig, but we did not.
No, I'm kind of actually happy it went that way. It looked like Gunther was actually pushing more of the distressed emotion.
Right, and you could see he was wanting to get right in Shinsuke's face, and Shinsuke wasn't really going to let him taunt him.
No.
He kept telling him to come on, and eventually nothing really happens of it, but we are going to see Shinsuke Nakamura get his Intercontinental Championship opportunity against Gunther. Is it supposed to be on next week's SmackDown, or is that going to take place at Clash of the Castle?
I can't remember.
Yeah, my brain farted on that. I'll have to look it up later, but maybe one of our listeners will know and inform us. Who knows? Anywho, no, I thought it was a great match between the two. I mean, I don't feel like we were going to see Ludwig, of course, win the match.
No.
Because Gunther obviously needs a challenger for the championship. I just hope they're going to bring back some prestige to that championship like how they did with the United States Championship on Raw. I thought they did a really great job paying tribute to all the former United States Championship holders. And I would like them to kind of go the same route with the Intercontinental Championship, because many greats held that title and brought some great prestige to it.
I'm just going to go out there and say it while we're at it. Could we, make it white again?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of this current design. I liked it better with the retro design, like when Cody brought back the retro style. I mean, that's been actually one of my favorite belts. In fact, you see it right behind you in one of my cases right there.
Mm-hmm.
I've just always been a fan of more of the like late 80s, early 90s designs than I do the current designs. The network logo just doesn't do it for me. Anywho, now that we went sidetracked again, we do that quite a bit on this show. We're just total nonsense. Anywho, going into, I guess you can call it match 3 with basically 7 different parts.
Yeah, this was an amazing gauntlet match.
Yeah, we see Liv Morgan come out and getting interviewed by Kayla, and you saw the fans weren't really happy with Liv, especially with the way she got her victory at SummerSlam.
That actually blew me away with the reactions.
Yeah, you wouldn't think Liv would get booed. However, I think WWE didn't do her any favors with that finish at SummerSlam either.
Yeah, there's that. Plus, on this where she came out, one of her still remaining weaknesses kind of hindered her, and that's the mic skills.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and seeing the way the fans reacted, I don't think she was prepared for that.
No, I wasn't even prepared.
And there's many podcasts out there that are saying it's been too early for Liv to be champion, and unfortunately, I'm going to have to agree with them on that, because, I don't always agree with what everyone says. This is the one thing I have to universally agree with, is I think it was just too early to put that championship on Liv. And we're starting to see it.
I'm pretty sure they weren't even going to give her a long run anyways.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think it'll be a little longer than I think most of us expect. We just need her to have a little more thicker skin especially when you're when you're holding the top prize in your division. You need to be able to handle anything that comes at you.
Especially if you're a babyface. The heels have said it all along.
Right.
It is much easier to be hated.
Well, and when fans started telling Cena sucks and all that and started booing him, it took Cena a little while too to get through that, because backstage it bothered him, but he was a total pro even when it first started. He didn't try to let it bother him at all, and unfortunately Liv was not able to, in my opinion, Liv was not able to show that same restraint.
No, she didn't shut it out.
No.
It got to her immediately.
Yeah, it did, and my only advice to Liv is, just learn not to react so quickly or try to jump on the fans so quick. It will, make sure they don't win. Make sure you let them hear you. Don't hear them, but let them hear you, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, they're the fans, but it's your career.
Right. With that being said, we see Sonya Deville come out, interrupt it, in one of the weirdest takes, seeing her favor Rousey after she just had a brief conflict with Rousey before she was fired as a WWE official. That one blew me away too.
Yeah, she's another one that's getting kind of pushed all over the place.
But, I think it's going to be a slow build, because I do think Triple H loves Sonya just like the rest of the other women. So
oh yeah,
I think it'll just be a matter of time before we see Sonya get her just due. With that said, it started into a gauntlet match to determine the next contender for Liv Morgan's SmackDown Championship. The very first part of the gauntlet match, Sonya Deville gets the victory over Aaliyah. Nothing real out of the shock there. I mean,
No, I mean,
Aaliyah's still green.
she is.
Both really green, really, to be exact.
The little bit of wrestling that I've seen Aaliyah do over the past few weeks has actually been better than what I saw with NXT.
Yeah. Well, NXT, I don't think she was showcased enough.
No.
And all of a sudden she's on main roster, which...
That was kind of early.
Yeah, I'm scratching my head with that still. But nonetheless, we're just going to leave it as is. Sonya Deville gets the victory over Aaliyah. And then in match number 2, this was the start of the domination of Raquel Rodriguez of the night. Raquel Rodriguez gets the victory over Sonya Deville. Pretty much a dominant fashion. Nothing that Rodriguez can't handle. But then she had a little bit of a closer competition in the third part of the gauntlet match. Raquel Rodriguez gets the victory over Shotzi. Shotzi again passed over, unfortunately, but I mean, really, you look at the reality, size is the big factor right there.
Yeah.
I just think Raquel Rodriguez definitely would outpower Shotzi in a real match, honestly. And then in the fourth part of the match, Raquel Rodriguez continues on, gets the victory over Xia Li. That one didn't really leave me very impressionable, because I think Xia Li is a much better talent than what was showcased there.
Yeah, they're not doing enough with her.
No, I thought all the matches for the gauntlet match were just a little too short. I don't think they were given enough time. Especially with this one. Xia Li is a much competitor than what was shown right there. And then in the fifth match, after Raquel Rodriguez gets the victory over Xia Li, Raquel Rodriguez gets yet another victory, this time over Natalia, and a little bit better match than the previous two.
Yeah, I mean,
but it just...
It's Natty.
Again, I mean, Natty being the seasoned veteran, she can make any of the women look great. However, going into the last match where Natty was able to pretty much get Rodriguez really softened up, this one made more sense finally, and I'm glad she's getting the opportunity. Shayna Baszler gets the victory over Raquel Rodriguez.
Yeah, this is something we've been waiting to see for a long time, both me and John. This is a finally moment. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, to me, Shayna Baszler earned this moment a long time ago. I think it was just a matter of creative needing to see the way, and I think with Triple H back at charge, this is definitely the step in the right direction.
Yeah.
I kind of feel Shayna Baszler should have had the Women's Championship on either brand at least once by now.
Yeah, instead what happened was she came out at first on the main roster. It was a little tiny explosion of attention, and then...
Yeah, she had her brief runs with the NXT, or not the NXT, but the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. But, I mean, I don't feel like those runs did her any justice either.
No.
I mean, she did have a good run with Nia Jax. I will give her that.
Right, but I think more attention went to Nia than Baszler.
Right. I think this match will hopefully do Baszler some justice. It'll just be interesting to see who they decide to go with putting the strap on.
It would be really interesting to see Baszler actually win and then have Ronda come back.
Yeah, I didn't really think much of that till now.
Like, holy crap.
But, Ronda's obviously on storyline suspension and fined due to attacking the referee and Liv post-match at SummerSlam. Although, Ronda Rousey had legitimate gripe.
Yeah.
You can't attack the official after the match either. That's generally a no-no in any sport. Going into match number 4.
It's not a match.
Yeah. Viking Raiders defeat some South Carolina scrubs. I didn't get their names, didn't care to, because I don't get why we use...
They went backwards again.
I don't get why we use enhancement talent on mainstream shows. To me, that should be for main event or whatever's on WWE Network. But, but not SmackDown, Raw, or NXT.
They went 10 steps backwards with the Raiders again.
Yeah. And then, after that match, we see Kofi come out and takes a kendo stick and beats the hell out of the Viking Raiders with it.
He drew blood.
Which eventually just ends up in a match with Viking Raider Eric Rowe against Kofi Kingston. Kofi Kingston gets a roll-up victory on him. That was right? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
he got a roll-up victory on him, and I
didn't find this believable.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to...
I mean, hooray for Kofi. He's not a bad competitor at all.
No, I mean, I get the storyline. He's getting revenge for them taking Woods out. But to me, it just makes sense to have the New Day lay down until Xavier Woods' storyline gets better, and then they come back and get their revenge on the Raiders.
Yeah.
However, Kofi going out alone, you got a 1 versus 2 fight going there. Kofi taking on both Viking Raiders. Eventually, the numbers game always takes advantage. And then, to end the show, we have the Bloodline doing the promo. Pretty much, Roman pays his respects to Brock, but says he still hates Brock Lesnar, and fans cheering for that, which was a little odd. But, hey, it is what it is. Up until Drew McIntyre comes out and interrupts Roman Reigns, because, the segment was originally supposed to be, I believe, Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre, promote their match at the upcoming Clash at the Castle. And lo and behold, we get another surprise.
I did not think that I was going to be this cheerful about his return.
Yeah, and this is what I was talking about at the start of our program on the monologue is...
But I find myself happy that he's back.
When I saw this guy's tweet, TikTok, I'm like, oh shit, he's back.
Yep.
And sure enough, after I watched SmackDown yesterday, catching up, Karrion Kross makes his return. Unfortunately, attacks Drew McIntyre. However, the nice little twist, after he takes McIntyre down, sets his sights right onto the Bloodline directly at Roman Reigns.
Yeah,
with Scarlett setting the hourglass for the time is ticking down for Roman's reign to end.
They're definitely setting this up to be real interesting.
Yeah, I think if... The other day I was asked who would be the guy to take Roman's streak or end it and take the championships off. The first thing I said was, to me, it would make more sense if he's ready, healthy by WrestleMania 40. Cody Rhodes should be the guy. But now that Karrion Kross is back, we got multiple options. You got Drew McIntyre at Clash of the Castle, but I don't think that would be the way to go.
No, I hate to say this, but I'd actually like to see the 4-way elimination match.
For the WWE, for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship?
To actually get those split back up if they're going to, go with what the networks need them to do. I think it would be interesting.
Yeah. The only problem is, how would you go about it?
Don't know.
The only thing I can really...
Flip a coin, maybe.
Well, and I don't know if Fatal 4-Way is the way to go, but maybe go the triple threat match like what they did with Kurt Angle years ago when he had both the European and Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember. I think the competitors were Chris Benoit and Chris Jericho. I can't remember.
Wow, that's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
Yeah, it's usually frowned upon when it's mentioned. But
I know.
This is an exception, I feel. However, during that match for the European Championship and Intercontinental Championship, it was basically 2 matches. The first fall was for, I believe, the Intercontinental Championship, and then the second fall was for the European Championship. I can't remember. It was one way or the other. Nonetheless, this is the only way I could see it making sense. Or you just have Roman defend only one of the titles.
Yeah.
That way you keep either the Universal Championship and he remains on SmackDown, or, have him hang on to the WWE Heavyweight Championship and he can move over to Raw. You would have to pretty much do the same thing with the Usos, though, as far as the Undisputed Tag Team Championships.
Viking Raiders.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I think the Viking Raiders would be a good chance. The Street Profits. I really think those are the only two teams that could really get the titles separated from the Usos at this point. Other than that, I don't really have any other ideas of what to do. Especially with now the main networks kind of having a conflict, not having a top title being, exclusive to their channels. Eventually we're going to have to see it happen, and who knows, at some point when the contract's in, I'm sure WWE may say, you know what, it's been fun having two separate channels, but we want to unify the brands, or not have the brand splits so much and keep the titles unified. However that will work out at the end, who knows. It'll definitely be an interesting scenario now with Triple H and Stephanie back at the helm and running things. I think we're in for some more surprises and some better storytelling. Definitely better quality matches. Overall, I felt all three programs were great. I think the one that stood out the most this week, and finally, I would say maybe the upset victory, I think Monday Night Raw took it out of the three.
Yeah, actually, I agree. I agree with that 100%.
Yep. All right, well, we're going to take yet another small break, and then we'll get right into the AEW side of things. We're going to cover all three things. One of them Will's going to pretty much cover mostly. I dropped the ball not realizing AEW Battle of the Belts 3 was apparently yesterday as of this recording.
I didn't even realize it till Friday.
Yeah, and so, anyhow, get some more music going here for you. We'll be back shortly. Going into AEW Dynamite, really good first match. Back-to-back openings for the program with Orange Cassidy coming out. Unfortunately, he's just shy of coming up with anything and falling to Jay Lethal in the opening match. Thought it was a very good match, very comical, typical Orange Cassidy match. It's nothing to take real serious, but it's going to have its funny moments, especially when...
The Best Friends had me just...
Yeah, when, the match eventually where Lethal and Cassidy almost all the way up the ramp to the heading back to gorilla position, you got...
Satnam Singh.
God, I can never remember his name. Satnam Singh comes out with Sanjay Dutt, and Satnam Singh was looking like he was going to come after Cassidy, but then you see Best Friends come out with Chuck Taylor holding Trent Beretta up on top of his shoulders.
Yeah, I couldn't quite figure out what they were doing because you could see them back there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was probably the hard part was watching him set up. But you see him come out where, Chuck Taylor with Trent Beretta on the shoulders and then wearing that, I guess you can say dress coat or whatnot.
It's a trench.
Trench coat, whatever. Make it look like it was one tall person against another tall person, but good Lord, could you imagine if Satnam Singh would have given him a chop? That would have been a bad ending for Trent.
Yeah, but this definitely was a good match.
I did find it funny, though, with Sanjay Dutt trying to hold back Singh. It's like, really?
No, both these guys did a really, really good job. I've never been disappointed with anything I've seen out of Orange Cassidy. Lethal, I'm trying to grow on. I just haven't seen enough of him.
Wow. Yeah, if you definitely need to go back and watch some of his stuff with Impact and Ring of Honor. I'd tell you, he had a lot of classic matches with both promotions. Jay Lethal can be just as funny as anybody out there, but he can also be a very serious competitor in the ring. He's I think 2 or 3 time former Ring of Honor World Champion. He was the longest Ring of Honor World Television Champion.
It's 3 time, I think. Yeah.
On the World Champion?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was. Nonetheless, yeah, I mean, you can't discredit Jay Lethal's in-ring work either, and showing that he knows how to tell a story as well. But then in the post-match, Lethal was going to continue attacking Orange Cassidy, but you could tell where he was already calling Wardlow to come out and save him. That's what happens. Best friends come out, pull Cassidy out of the ring, but Wardlow comes in and stands up to Lethal, Dutt, and Singh until they clear the ring. And then Sanjay Dutt, being the dumbass, opening his mouth, basically tells Wardlow, hey, you really want a match now? And holds him back. But unfortunately says, we want a match at Battle of the Belts 3. And Wardlow says, doesn't matter where, what day, what time, wherever, he'll take their asses on. And pretty much it was an accepted challenge. Wardlow's going to defend the TNT Championship against Jay Lethal at Battle of the Belts 3. Then we go into the promo where Undisputed Elite comes out to the ring, and pretty much it comes down to Adam Cole bringing his comeback speech, or whatever the hell you want to call it, and announces that, hey, we got this Trios Championship coming up. And it was pretty much going to be without the Bucks. And unfortunately, it ends up where Red Dragon and Adam Cole attacks the Young Bucks in the ring, which really sets up for a weird position because Hangman Adam Page comes out and makes the save for the Bucks.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, I'm not sure where they're going to go with this, because I was suspecting that, I think everybody knew this was going to happen down the road. We just didn't know when or where.
I was expecting that it was going to be a bigger deal.
Well, I was thinking Kenny Omega was going to be the one that comes and makes the save.
Which would have made sense.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if Kenny Omega is going to be cleared in time. I'm kind of thinking maybe it's going to end up being Adam Cole and Red Dragon in the Trios tournament, and it'll probably end up being the Young Bucks with Hangman Adam Page reconciling.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm hoping it would be more Kenny and the Bucks, but maybe this is a sign showing that Hangman Adam Page is going to be back in the Elite. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know which direction they're going to go with this. Like, it's going to mess a little bit with the Bucks being heels.
Well, I think this officially made the Bucks face, though, with Adam Cole and Red Dragon now.
I liked their content more as heels.
Yeah, I think everybody does. Anywho, moving on, we're going to the match number 2, which was kind of a little bit of a shocker, but the team of Britt Baker, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Jamie Hayter getting the victory over Thunderstorm, which overall great match with all 4 ladies. I mean, you know it's going to be a great match when you can hear the fans chant, "This is awesome." Jamie Hayter, Toni Storm really stepped it up. Thunder Rosa always has a good match. Britt Baker still always improving. Showed why she earned her AEW Women's Championship run. I mean, you can't ask for a better competitive match between the 4 ladies.
Yeah.
And this pretty much leads up with Jamie Hayter taking on Thunder Rosa at Battle of the Belts 3 for the AEW Women's Championship.
Yeah, I've got no gripes on what these 4 ladies did this match. It was really good to see.
And the celebration from Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, giving Jamie Hayter the big hug. Because, recent times when they've tagged and lost, it's never been the whole lovey-dovey like they were showing. But this definitely was a much better feeling, showing that they're a much united faction than what everyone has been seeing over the last few months. Shortly after that match, Taz announces that Team Taz is no more, especially not knowing what all was going on. He didn't know that Ricky Starks was going to defend the FTW Championship after defeating Danhausen. He had no idea Hook was going to be the one challenging Ricky Starks for the FTW Championship, and then had no idea that Hobbs was going to clobber Ricky Starks from behind in the post-match interview. So, yeah, a bit of a little mess for Taz. So, Team Taz, definitely no more, which goes into match number 3. Powerhouse Hobbs ends up defeating Ren Jones. Nothing real big on the match other than, it showcased Powerhouse Hobbs' overall strength.
Yeah,
and he can ragdoll anyone in the ring.
I really don't think it was a necessity to just kind of start him off with lesser competition.
Yeah, I think it would have been better if he had definitely a more recognizable talent in there.
Yeah.
One that's got at least a fair amount of accolades in the business.
Yeah.
But then we see Ricky Starks post-match try to come into the ring and
he got
try to get his revenge on Will Hobbs, but unfortunately...
Yeah, he got swatted again.
Yeah, he got the power spine buster thrown on him, and that was it. It took Starks down, and Will Hobbs just leaves the ring in glory. But and going into match number 4, Christian Cage defeats Matt Hardy in what was kind of like your typical when you saw Edge and Christian versus the Hardy Boys in WWE. This was pretty much a similar style match. Unfortunately, this time Christian getting the upper hand over Matt Hardy this time.
This match actually took me back to old matches, like you said, old professional wrestler matches.
Right, and these two worked many programs before in the past with different promotions. I
thought it was solid.
Yeah, I thought it was a good match. I'm not really sure it moved Matt Hardy in any direction.
No.
But it just showed Christian's momentum as a shit-headed heel that he is,
Yeah, I think they're probably still busy trying to figure out what to do with Matt after the whole Jeff incident.
Well, I think it's just a matter of time when Jeff completes his program, he'll be back at it.
Yeah, I mean, this was supposed to be their last run, wasn't it?
Not sure if it was supposed to be their last run or if it was just kind of a... Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea on that one. I couldn't really answer that, to be honest. However, after the match, we see Luchasaurus make his way toward Christian Cage, and he pretty much backed Christian... Well, I don't know if he really backed Christian Cage. I think Christian Cage just stayed in the ring.
Well, no, he started to back up, and then when Jungle
Boy comes in and tries to get his shots in on Christian Cage, but Christian Cage was able to sneak out of the ring unscathed and exits the arena. I think it's just a matter of time before we'll see Jungle Boy get his revenge on Christian Cage for sure. And then going into what was kind of a odd match of the night, a tag team dumpster match. The Acclaim getting their victory over the Gun Club, also known as the Ass Boys.
Yeah, for me, this was just an okay match. It really...
Yeah, it wasn't even an okay match for me.
It didn't do anything.
No, I pretty much... The dumpster match said it all already. That's where the match belongs. I mean, it was fun to watch them go at it, but I just kind of think we're stretching as far as gimmick matches when it comes to this. It was similar to when Kalisto had that dumpster match with Braun Strowman Monday Night Raw a few years back. I'm just like, this is not going to end well. It doesn't do any favor for anyone. It's I mean, I get it. It was probably just more for humor, but I don't even think my humor meter was working when I watched this. It was definitely not the best match of the night.
You can say it. Say it.
It sucked.
The match was what?
The shits.
Garbage.
Yeah, I guess I should have said that. I'm sorry. Anywho, we're going to move on to the main event. The winner of this match ends up facing Jon Moxley at fuck, I can't remember what the name of the event. It's next week's Dynamite.
Yeah, no, I don't remember either.
I can't remember.
They have so many names.
I just wish they would just leave it as Dynamite or Rampage.
Yeah.
Quit giving them these fucking themes. Pardon my language. But
Freaking awesome match.
anywho, it was. It was a brutal match. It was very physical. It brought a lot out of both competitors, but we see Chris Jericho bring out the Lionheart in himself, getting the victory over Wheeler Yuta. Again, the purpose of the match was whoever won faces Jon Moxley at next week's... Is it next week's Dynamite?
I think so.
Yeah, next week's Dynamite for the AEW Interim Championship. I think fans were waiting to see this rematch for quite a while now, because Chris Jericho really never got a rematch after he lost the championship to Jon Moxley.
No.
And I think this is going to be one fans are going to be really excited to watch.
Yeah.
Watching Chris Jericho come back as the Lionheart. It'd be interesting if he came back to the Lionheart theme music from his WCW days.
Yuta definitely got a big push with this.
Yuta went the limits with Jericho.
He's absolutely just impressive.
Yeah, I mean, when I watched him on the Chris Jericho cruise, the guy had me in awe with what he did in the ring. And this was even better than what I watched him on the cruise.
Yeah, I consider this to be my favorite match from Yuta.
Yeah, he brought his all to the match and shows that he can hang with the big guys in the main event. And I think
time.
When the time comes right, Wheeler Yuta will be a future world champion.
Yeah.
No matter what promotion he's in. And that says a lot for a guy his size.
Oh, yeah.
He's not exactly the biggest of them all, but the guy can wrestle. He's got the in-ring skill, and I think if he works on his promos a little bit better, he will be an A-plus talent down the road. Friday Night Rampage, great start. Jon Moxley, not really in a title match or defending his title, but in an exhibition match, gets the victory over Mance Warner, who's well known outside of AEW and the independent promotions. Mance Warner's not exactly a talent you take lightly, and he showed exactly why in that whole physical contest. Moxley made him pass out.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that wasn't a fake pass out.
No, I think I'm not sure if he just lost too much blood so fast or...
He probably did, because after that frickin' chair shot.
Oh, dude. Mance Warner, he can take a beating, dude. And Jon Moxley, it probably was better that it was Moxley that gave him that beating than anyone else.
Yeah.
Just how well Moxley works in the ring with his opponents.
It was a fantastically brutal match. I enjoyed every second of this one.
I mean, this is what defined as a pro wrestling match for sure. And then going into match number 2, Takeshita. Oh, I was gonna say his first name, but we'll just say his last name. Fuck it.
I want to hear it. Come on.
Kineski. I don't think I said it right. I suck at pronouncing foreign names. Kineski Takeshita defeating Ryan Nemeth, the brother of Dolph Ziggler, who had Peter Avalon. I don't know why I've struggled on that name. Pretty Peter Avalon by his side.
Yeah. This was a quick match, and I don't...
Yeah, it didn't do Ryan any justice because I think Ryan is a good talent in the ring.
I don't think it did anything for Takeshita either.
No. I mean, Takeshita, obviously going to have his match with Claudio Castagnoli for the Ring of Honor World Championship at Battle of the Belts 3 the next night. I don't understand why you would have him in a match when he's going to be wrestling. Well, I believe this. No, this is is Rampage taped or is it live?
I don't know.
I want to say it's recorded, but I can't remember. Nonetheless, though, yeah, Takeshita gets a victory over Ryan Nemeth. Like I said, didn't really do justice for either talent, in my opinion. I think Ryan is a good talent in the ring. He's a much better comedian, though. I got wind of that on the Chris Jericho cruise as well. He does a fantastic job on stand-up. Then we go into match number 3. Madison Rayne gets the victory over Layla Gray. Nothing very special other, Jade Cargill taking exception to Madison Rayne coming in. Especially with her recognized accolades in the professional wrestling business. Jade's got some jealousy toward the queen of wrestling right there.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of time before we see... Well, no, it's not going to be a matter of time. At Dynamite, Jade Cargill, I believe, defends the TBS championship against Madison Rayne, if I remember right.
I'm not sure. This match, I marked it down as not bad.
No, I think Layla Gray had a decent showing in the ring. I think it's just a matter of time before we see her obviously winning some matches. But, it's like that slow struggle. Anytime you bring in someone new to the faction, they got to earn their keep, Kind of like Tatum Paxley with Diamond Mine in NXT. I think that's pretty much the role Layla Gray's playing at the moment. She's just got to prove herself to the rest of the baddie faction. And then, in the main event for the night, the Friday night street fight between Swerve in the Glory, Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland, gets the victory over the team of Tony Nese and Josh the Goods Woods. I have no words for the match.
No, the only one I came up with was just awesome. Like, it was a killer match.
Yeah, I mean, it was...
Swerve and Lee definitely brought it against two guys that are known to be just physically brutal.
Yeah, I mean, I think Josh Woods has always been kind of that undervalued talent when Ring of Honor was going with Sinclair.
Yeah.
He was pretty much their last Ring of Honor pure champion, which is now being held by Wheeler Yuta, who we mentioned in Dynamite. But yeah, I think Josh Woods is going to be one of those guys who, if he gets the right opportunity, he'll make the most out of it. And people who've watched Ring of Honor know Josh the Goods Woods, what a great talent he is, and the sky is the limit for what he's going to achieve in the business. And because this segment was so short with Rampage as usual, because it's only a 1 hour program compared to the rest of the 2-3 hours,
yeah,
we're just going to go ahead and get right into Battle of the Belts 3. Unfortunately, I was not paying attention.
He missed it. It's okay.
I did not realize it was actually a program that was airing last night while I was catching up on the rest of the week's program. So we're going to rely on Will taking over for that.
Okay.
Go for it.
So the first match was Jay Lethal versus Wardlow. And this was an excellent match of back and forth. It really surprised me because I thought what we were going to see was just absolute dominance, and it wasn't that way. They played Jay Lethal into it just perfectly, and eventually it did turn into Jay Lethal got punished. Absolutely punished. But then...
Did he get the Powerbomb Symphony, I hope?
He did not. He did one powerbomb, and that was it.
Damn!
And then Satnam Singh and the other guy come out.
Sanjay Dutt.
Yeah, and that kind of goes back and forth, but eventually the table just stood no chance with Satnam Singh power bombing Well, not power bombing. He choke slammed him.
Chokeslam Wardlow through the table?
Yeah, he did.
Damn.
That table had zero chance. It hit the floor immediately.
I think that would be a really awesome match to watch Wardlow and Satnam Singh go at it.
I'm pretty sure we're going to end up seeing that. The second match, Thunder Rosa versus Jamie Hayter. This was an extremely competitive match, and I was glad to actually see more and more of Jamie Hayter, because typically her segments are really fast, and that was not the case with this. They did a great job. Thunder Rosa ended up getting the victory over Jamie Hayter.
So was this match well timed and not rushed like their previous matches?
Yeah, they actually did a really good job with these matches as far as the timed.
Because that's been my only problem with AEW so far, is I don't think they showcase the women right.
No.
I think the position on the cards, they deserve a better position, whether it's more toward the beginning of the show or toward the end of the show. My only problem is it's always been more like right in the middle, or where it would seem more for intermission of the fans that are there live.
No, I think this match actually, it lasted longer than the first match. The first match with Jay Lethal and Wardlow, which, by the way, did I forget to mention that Wardlow? No, he picked up the victory, but first match was only 13 minutes. And then they went into a promo, and I don't really put much into watching the promos. No, the Rosa versus Hayter match definitely got a well amount of time.
Awesome. That's what they need.
And then we went into another promo again, whatever. Third match. Takeshita versus Claudio. Now, I'm really, really sorry that you missed this. I am.
Well, once it's available on demand, I'm going back and watching it.
I hope you do, because my biggest notation on this, Claudio ended up with the victory, but this match was more about showcasing Takeshita's technical wrestling, and they did an amazing job with it. It was just one of those matches you have to see.
I think the only disappointment I have is AEW has a hard time advertising the New Japan talent.
Yeah.
With their shows.
Yeah.
Because I think that would bring a little more awareness for some fans to go back to look at some of the old matches they've had, whichever promotion they've been in. I mean, most of what we're seeing is coming from New Japan Pro Wrestling. But, you know, even when they did Forbidden Door having, you know, New Japan, or if they had mixed promotions with Impact or NWA, you know, I think they could do a better job helping those promotions out by giving them, you know, a little bit of a rub out there, you know.
Yeah.
Say, hey, here's when they're on and all that. Catch them at this and that time and all that.
Yeah, I'm really proud of what they did with Takeshita. Thank you, Takeshita, for what you did. Obviously, always a fan of Claudio Castagnoli.
Yeah, I mean, Claudio never really ever had a bad match. I think it was a lost treasure with WWE not taking advantage.
They dropped the ball on him.
Yeah, there was just no reason why that guy didn't have a
world title
or Universal Championship run.
Yeah, it was pure gold. Even when he was with partnered up with Natty's husband.
Oh, TJ Wilson?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was, well, unfortunate for TJ. Injuries kind of plagued him. And
yeah, I miss the guy.
Yeah, I'm glad he's still with WWE behind the scenes, but, you know, yeah, I mean, Claudio is just that one talent where Vince McMahon said, you know, he doesn't connect with the fans, and I'm like,
whoa.
What the fuck are you listening to, Vince?
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah, no, they loved him from day one.
I was in a lot of them. I was in a couple of live events where Claudio had the biggest pop out of everyone.
Mm-hmm.
But you're telling me he's not connecting with fans, and you got fans chanting his name and cheering him?
Really, I think the only time he didn't get much from the fans' reactions is when he first came out in WWE.
Well, yeah, I mean, he just got out of NXT and making his way up, because
He came directly into being a heel.
The only people that cheered for him were people who watched him in Ring of Honor or other promotions.
Yeah.
And when you have WWE that's kind of alienates them from the other brands, I'm hoping with Steph and Hunter now in charge, maybe they'll be a little more open to trying to work with other promotions.
Yeah.
I mean, if they were willing to make an exception for Mickie James at the Royal Rumble this year,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think they could do wonders.
Especially after how much of a burn it was for Mickie James.
Yeah. With the way she went out, that was burned bridges. The way Mark Carrano pretty much sent her things back to her in a
Trash bag.
Like, what kind of insensitive prick are you to do something like that?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, my language isn't great with sometimes on this program, but it really gets my goat when I freaking have to see shit like that go on. I mean, I don't care if they were a bad talent or a great talent, mediocre talent.
They're still human.
They're still human. Give them a little bit of respect, but don't. That's very disrespectful, and no matter what way you look at it.
Yeah, I was actually really surprised that she even agreed.
Well, it's because I'm sure they were trying to make it right with the whole Mark Carrano thing. Mark Carrano's not even there anymore, which, thank God, has probably been the best thing so far.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think if WWE was willing to work a little more with these other promotions like they did, especially with the 205 Cruiserweight tournament they did a few years back, I think great things would definitely come out of it. And now for our final segment, we're going to go right into our top 10 for the week.
Cool.
All right, let's go ahead and start at number 10.
All right, my number 10 for the week is Christian Cage. It's been a while since we've really seen him be all that active. He's older talent, but he's still got it.
Yeah. My number 10 is going out to Caden Carter and Katana Chance winning the NXT Women's Tag Team Championship opportunity they've been seeking for the last year and a half, and they finally got it, and well deserved for those two ladies.
Yar. So my number 9, Solo Sikoa. He's a solid athlete.
Right. I mean, he proved it with his match with Von Wagner. Definitely showed that he is definitely the street fighting champion out of everybody out there. Yeah, my number 9, I'm gonna give it right to pretty much Jamie Hayter. I thought she did a really great match she had a really great showing in her tag match with Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, getting the victory over Thunder Rosa and Tony Storm.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that would have got her a little higher ranked is if she actually pinned Thunder Rosa in that match.
Yeah.
Knowing that they were going to have their championship match at Battle of the Belts 3.
Yeah.
I definitely would have gave her a higher ranking based on that little technicality.
And you might have had you actually managed to catch the Battle of the Belts, because it was just killer.
Yeah.
My number 8, Shayna Baszler. Well deserved. We've been waiting for this for a long time.
And I have to agree. I would say that's definitely my number 8 right there as well. I mean, you pretty much stated it right there. Opportunity I think she's earned for a while, but it was long overdue, and now she's finally getting it.
So, yeah. Okay. So my number 7 is actually your number 10.
Oh.
Caden and Chance.
Yeah, very well deserved, you know.
Like, I can't really say much about it because they've deserved it the whole frickin' time, really.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, they've been fighting for years, and they started as scrubs and worked their way toward the top, and it finally happened for them on this past week's NXT 2.0 episode.
Yep.
My number 7, I am giving to Ciampa for finally getting the opportunity to go for something more of the centerpiece in a storyline.
Interesting.
I think he's going to get a very good run with Bobby Lashley. I don't think he's going to take the championship off Lashley.
No.
But if he does, it's still well-deserved and well-earned for him.
Yeah. My number 6, Swerve in the Glory.
Yeah, they had a fantastic showing in their pretty much street fight with Tony Nese and Josh the Goods Woods. And, Mark Sterling always taking one for the team. Thank you, Keith Lee. That was quite the little interesting moment there for sure. And we're on number 6, right?
Yes.
I don't know why I keep losing track so much. But I would say my number 6 would definitely go to Takeshita. I think he's still shows a lot of promise no matter where he is. I think eventually he will get his first title in one of the U.S. promotions at some point. But apparently Battle of the Belts just wasn't the time for him, unfortunately.
Yeah. You're making my list really just easy here.
Sorry.
It's number 5, Ciampa.
Well,
obvious reasons.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, good showing. He had killer 2 matches on Monday Night Raw. I would have ranked him a little higher. The only thing that I think didn't really need to happen was The Miz interfering in that match.
Yeah.
I think Ciampa could have defeated AJ Styles on his own. But at the same point, I do kind of understand because, AJ Styles hit the Styles Clash, but I don't think he hit it on Ciampa enough to get that victory, Yeah. I think Ciampa could have got the foot on the rope all on his own.
Yeah.
It just didn't make sense to have The Miz do it for him, especially being that close. Now, if they were a little bit further away from the rope, that would be one thing. But where they were so close to the rope, even the foot under the rope would have been just enough, which I think I saw a little bit of that. But the foot moved right as the ref was starting to count.
Yeah.
My number 5, I'm going to give it to Carmelo Hayes, just for retaining the NXT North American Championship in a great match.
Not a bad.
Again, another one that could be ranked higher. Just the only thing that ruined it really was Giovanni Vinci with the interference.
Yep. Muddying the water, so to speak.
Yeah.
My number 4, Thunder Rosa. Just always doing an excellent job.
Yeah. Good choice there. My number 4 goes to Raquel Rodriguez.
Nice.
I think she held her own and dominated that gauntlet match pretty much from the second match all the way to the end. And unfortunately, Shayna Baszler got the victory over at the end. And,
yeah,
nothing against Baszler or Rodriguez. They both had a great showing. But, I mean, Baszler definitely earned it. Rodriguez already had her opportunity against... She had 2 opportunities against Rousey?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just the one.
No, it was 2.
I mean, I know she had 2 matches, but I didn't know both of them were title matches.
Yeah, the second one was a title match, but there was the interference.
Okay.
So.
Okay. That makes sense.
All right. My number 3. Or did you do your number 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Raquel Rodriguez.
Okay. My number 3 is Wheeler Yuta. It's just continually improving, impressing, and he had a hell of a match this week.
And that's my number 3 as well. Wheeler Yuta is a very physical guy. He's showing much more comfortability in the ring and telling a story in the ring. Like I said before, I think if he works on his mic skills, he will definitely be an A-plus talent in the business
Yeah.
in years to come.
So, my number 2, Takeshita. He just, there's nothing disappointing about this man.
No, I mean, the guy, like I said, the guy's very good technical wrestler. He's still seeking for his first U.S. promotion to championship.
Yeah.
And I think in due time it will happen.
Yeah, I see it happening sooner than later, really. He's just that good.
I think it will come in due time. Number... We're,
2.
God, why am I getting so lost today? My number 2 definitely goes to the Creed brothers. They're an excellent tag team, and they improve every time we see them on TV.
Yep.
I kind of say they're the modern day early Steiner brothers.
Yeah.
And I made this post on Twitter a couple months ago where I asked Steiner brothers or Creed brothers, and a lot of the responses I got is, this a real question? I said, look, both teams, when they first started, yeah, they weren't spectacular, but they showed a lot of promise. And I think the Creed brothers showed just as much promise as the Steiner brothers.
Oh, yeah.
I think they will be a great tag team for years to come. I really hope they don't split them up, but it will also depend on the goals of Julius and Brutus.
Yeah.
To see where they want to go in the future. But I think these guys could, when they hit main roster, they could be a serious contender, if not be one of the better tag teams that holds the gold.
Yeah. Okay, number 1. Seth Rollins. Just, let's be real. There's not too many Seth Rollins out there.
No. I mean, the guy goes in, goes out, and has a consistent performance every time, no matter if it's a match, a promo.
He literally adapts to every single thing.
He tells a story very well. I mean, you can't really go wrong with anything he does. I mean, I'm not saying he bats 1,000 every time he goes out there, but the guy never disappoints. Even in his worst segment, it's not bad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it's still enjoyable and you want more. Going for my number 1, and this one's really tough. Because, like I've mentioned before, it was really a better week of programming since Steph and Triple H have taken the reins and running the shows. And, yeah, I didn't really write my list this week, but I haven't mentioned Solo Sikoa yet, have I?
No.
That's who my number 1 is. I think he proved that he was a force to be reckoned with, you know.
Oh yeah, he's definitely future.
I mean, he showed why he's a champion on the streets, and I think it's just a matter of time before we see gold around his waist.
Yeah, he's definitely future, and one of the things I absolutely love about Solo is the not being branded with the bloodline.
And see, I think if they were to get a title on him in NXT, you know, the bloodline could come and recognize him too and all that.
Yeah.
Or move Solo Sikoa up to the main roster. And wouldn't it be interesting to watch him win the United States Championship and the Intercontinental Championship and they have all of the gold?
No. No.
I mean,
we're already having too many issues.
Yeah. I'm sure the networks will really be happy by then. But no, that's my top 10 right there. I'm going with Solo Sikoa on top. I think he earned that spot. NXT, you know, is continuing to show some good promise. I hope they kind of do change a few things around. The one thing I will say I've noticed that didn't happen as much on the WWE programming was they go to the ring and then go to the back for an interview just to go back to the ring. I think they did a better job of that with their production this week.
Yeah, that or they stop in the middle of the entrances or throw in this big long segment.
Right.
Don't do that.
Right.
Get it out of the way while there's not a match.
And that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode of the Wrestling Fans Insight. We want to thank each and every one of you who decided to tune in to us, especially when there's thousands of other wrestling podcasts out there to listen to. But we also encourage you to listen to the others as well. I feel we have a great wrestling community out there in the internet. Still some great positive ones. Few I would like to mention to go take a listen to. Ted the Hillbilly Hill does a really great job with the Hill Truth. Austin Boyer, who does a really, really extensive, great job with the wrestling world. BC Hunter and the Nightmare Jay Myers, they do a wonderful job on their podcast with Wrestling with the Truth Pod. They also have a YouTube channel you can go subscribe to and watch some good content. Also, go check out All the Ghosto Elite, who has his co-host Noah. But unfortunately, this week, Noah is not with Agosto, so Agosto's all by himself. Poor guy, I feel your pain. But I do want to give a few shout-outs to a few of our listeners that I do know that's been giving me some feedback. Carlos Estrada, Carolina, who's known as Carol Bucks on Twitter. Terry Duvall, Bernardo, Grim, who's known as Happy Grim. Sage Alvarez, Spoona Zeke, Derek M. Quite a few of you. Thank you for supporting us. Appreciate all the love and support you give to us on Twitter as well. Do you have any shout outs you want to give?
Just thank you to everybody who's shown some concern and listened to us. Thank you for the well wishes. Sorry I've been absent so much. It's just, it's the time of the year where I do a lot of camping.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I'll hopefully be joining. I know I'll be having the yearly camping trip with my pops coming up here in October, so we'll probably be doing some pre-recorded sessions then. Who knows? But I also want to take the time to say thank you to Libsyn.com for hosting our podcast, Pixabay.com for letting us donate to their site and allowing us to download and use royalty-free music from the following artists: Light Saturation, G Vidden, and Coma Media. And letting you all know we're all now on Spotify, iOS, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio. Supposedly there's a few of these I think we're on, but I haven't been able to find it. So if you do find them there, let me know so I can for sure can keep shouting them out. But we're also on Odyssey, Player FM, Samsung, Geo7, Boomplay, Deezer, Ghana, and I think it's pronounced Rezo or Rezo. Also, you can interact with us. We have a Facebook group. If you go find us, the Fans of Pro Wrestling. As I mentioned earlier, I am on Twitter at John, JohnWFIncite, at John WF Insight, just like the show's spelled. And you can also leave us a voicemail on our Google Voice area code 385-367-4772. And some maybe a little bit more exciting news. We're looking probably about a month maybe down the road where we're going to get a little more interactive, have fans on the show. We're probably going to start doing this on Twitter Space and record not just on Twitter Space, but as we're doing the Twitter Space, we'll be recording the space on our computers here for the podcast. So, yeah, I think it's time to get some fans involved and get some other opinions and views going around. We will have a few rules set in place, and we'll announce them as we get ready to launch this new exciting adventure. other than that, Will, you have anything else?
I do not. Have a good day.
All right, and that'll do it for us. We'll catch you all next Sunday. Have a great week and peace out.